we will begin the 10th lecture on Hebrew. Today we will study Hebrew nouns, adjectives, and pronouns. We will begin with Hebrew nouns. We briefly went over Hebrew nouns in a previous lecture, and I hope you remember. The Hebrew noun sus means horse. This is a masculine singular noun. To change this into a feminine form, we would add the ending a. This means a female horse. To make the masculine singular to a plural form, we would add the ending im. Hirek, yod, mem. This would be a masculine plural form meaning horses. Next, let's make the feminine plural form of a female horse. The plural form of susa. We would add the ending ot. Then it would be susot, female horses. This would be the female plural. Hebrew nouns have dual forms. A dual form refers to parts of the body or physical things that come in pairs. For example, our eyes. Therefore, we would add the ending aim to make the dual form of sus. Pata, yod, hirer, mem. It would be susaim, a pair of horses. To make it plural, we would add a, ta, and im. Then it would be susataim. Then this would be a pair of horses. This would indicate a pair of horses or pairs of horses. These nouns are in the absolute state. The meaning of the absolute state of nouns must be defined by the meaning of the construct state. If we wanted to say the king's horse, we would write it in the following way in Hebrew. The meaning of sus, which means horse, and the meaning of melech, which means king. In English, this would be the horse of the king. There is a modifying word here. In Hebrew, this would be a construct form. It would be the king's horse. In Korean, particles that express possession are added to the subject. However, when expressing possession in Hebrew, words are contrasted with other words. We would not use the word melech, which means king, but would make a change to the word horse. In such a case, we would say that the noun is in a construct state. When a form does not change, it would be in an absolute state. Hence, nouns in the absolute state do not change in form. In order to express possession in the construct state, the absolute state must change. Then let's look at the construct forms of the absolute state. Construct forms are made by adding changes in the endings of the absolute state. The absolute and construct states are the same of the masculine singular. In the case of sus, the absolute is sus, and the construct is also sus. In the case of the feminine singular, the absolute susa becomes susat. The ending a changes to at. Hence, it would be susat. The ending at would be added. Now, let's look at the construct endings of the masculine plural form. The ending of the absolute is im. Hence, it would be susim. Of the construct form, chere yod would be added to make suse. The construct ending of the feminine plural is the same ending as that of the absolute 옷. Hence, both the absolute and the construct would be 수솥. Next, the dual forms. The dual form of the masculine singular is 수사임. 수사임 changes to 수세. 체레요드 is added to make 수세. This is the same as the masculine plural form. Next, the construct ending of the plural dual form is 태. 아타임 changes to 태. Hence, it would be 수세태. We would add persons and genders to each noun. We must also memorize the endings we need to change an absolute form to a construct form. Next, let's study Hebrew adjectives. The forms of Hebrew adjectives are the same as those of Hebrew nouns. Adjectives agree in person, gender, and number with the nouns they modify. Let's look at an example. The word sus, which means horse. There are adjectives that describe this. Adjectives. The adjective tov. Adjectives are used attributively and predicatively. The first sentence at the top is used attributively. Sus means horse and tov means good. In Hebrew, tov modifies sus. Hence, it would mean good horse. The second sentence is an example of a predicative use. Tov predicates the following noun. Hence, it is translated as The horse is good. I wrote the English sentences in Korean. In this way, the noun is the subject and it comes first. Then comes the adjective, which would be an attributive use. The most important part of the sentence is the noun, and the other words describe the noun. When the adjective comes first and the noun comes next, it would be a predicative use. When adjectives are used attributively and predicatively, their genders and numbers must agree with nouns. Let's look at an example of an attributive use. The noun sus, which the adjective tov modifies, is a masculine singular noun. Therefore, no other ending is added to the masculine singular noun. Hence, nothing is added to the adjective. However, if the noun was a feminine singular noun like Susa, the same feminine singular ending must be added to the adjective, which would be tova. The adjective tov would become tova, and the gender and number would agree with Susa, the noun it is modifying. Like this, the attributive and the predicative use of adjectives must agree with nouns in gender and number. Next, let's look at independent personal pronouns. Independent personal pronouns are words such as I, you, he, she, it, we, you, and they in English, and they are the same in Hebrew. The first person singular I is Anoki. Anoki. Next, the second person singular you is Ata. This is also the second person masculine singular. The second person feminine singular you is At. The third person masculine singular he is Hu. The third person feminine singular she is he. The singular form Anoki consists of the form Ani. They are Ani, Anoki, Ata, At, Hu, and He. It would be a good idea to memorize them. Let's read them one more time. Ani, Anoki, Ata, At, Hu, He. Next, let's look at the plural forms. The first person common plural is we. Ahnu and Anahnu are both applicable. Ahnu and Anaknu. Next, the second person masculine plural you. This would be Atem. Atem. Next, the second person feminine plural you would be Aten. Aten. Here it would be Mem, and here it would be Nun. The third person masculine plural they or these men is hem. Hem. The third person feminine plural, these women, is hen. The masculine forms of both the second person and the third person end with mem, and the feminine forms end with noon. Let's read them. אנחנו, נחנו, אתם, אתן, הם, hen. Including the singular forms, they would be אני, אנוכני, אתה, את, הוא, he, אנחנו, נחנו, אתם, אתן, הם, hen. There are variations of this form that you will find in your materials. Next, let's look at Hebrew demonstrative pronouns. They would be this or that. The plural forms would be these and those. Let's look at the singular and plural forms of this and that. First, this would be ze and zot. These are the masculine and feminine forms of this. The plural form would be ele. Aleph, lamed, he, ele. This would be these in English. These. The plural is used with both the masculine and the feminine. Next, that. That is who and he. Who and he are the masculine singular and the feminine singular of that, respectively. Who and he. Who and he are the masculine and feminine forms of that, and they are the same as the forms of the third person independent personal pronouns who and he. We must be careful when identifying them. Next, the plural forms of that. The masculine is hem, and the feminine is hen. This means those. The plural forms are the same as the third person independent personal pronoun. Therefore, we must be careful when identifying them. Lastly, let's look at the endings of persons. We will lastly look at the suffixes of pronouns. In Hebrew, these are called pronominal suffixes. These are a kind of suffixes and are added to nouns, verbs, and prepositions. First, let's look at suffixes that are added to prepositions. Suffixes added to nouns express the possessive relationship of nouns. These suffixes change depending on the person, gender, and number. The ending of the first person common singular is yi, hirek, and yod. The second person masculine singular is ka. The second person feminine singular is k. The third person masculine singular is o. The third person feminine singular is a. The first person common plural is inu. The second person masculine plural is kem. Kem. The second person feminine plural is ken. The third person masculine plural is am. Lastly, the third person feminine plural is an. To read them all, they would be I, ka, k, o, a, nu, kem, ken, am, an. Let's read them one more time. I, ka, k, o, a, nu, kem, ken, am, an. Be sure to memorize these endings. The pronominal suffixes will be added to nouns and prepositions. For example, melek. Melek means king. If the ending yi was added, the form of kap would change and yi would be added. If the ending of the first person common singular was added to a noun, it would express a possessive relationship of the noun. The first person common singular would mean my. Hence, it would be my king. If we applied this to Seuss, it would be Susi. Because si is added to the noun meaning my, it would be connected to the first person common singular I. But because it must be a possessive case, it would become my and my horse. Susie would be my horse. If we added the suffixes of personal pronouns, it would be my horse, your horse as a female. If we added the ending o, it would be his horse. Now let's write the possessives. My, your as a female, his, her, our, your, their, and their. In this way, only the possessives have changed in person, gender, and number. There will come a time when we want to change Seuss to a noun to make my horses. We will want to change it to your horses. We will also want to change it to his horses. In such cases, we would use the pronominal suffixes in plural form. I will write the plural forms. I in place of 이, 에카 in place of 카, 아익 in place of 크, 아유 in place of 오, 에하 in place of 아, 에이누 in place of nu, 에켐 in place of 켐, 에켄 in place of ken, ehem in place of am, ehen in place of an. Here we will see that yod has been added to the third person plural. We can distinguish the singular forms of suffixes from the plural forms by yod. Here we will see the third person ending he in place of am and an. Now let's look at pronominal suffixes added to verbs. Let's look at the verb malak. It means he ruled. A pronominal suffix can be added to this verb. The first person common singular would be ni. Nun is added to yi. Then we will easily identify the first person form. In the case of malak, kap would change to a different form. Malak is he ruled. However, when ni is added to malak, ni functions as the object of the verb. Malak would be he ruled. The pronominal suffix ni is added. This will function as the object of the verb, and it will be a first-person common singular form. Hence, it would be he ruled me. The forms of the pronominal suffixes added to the verb change slightly and function as objects of the verb. Now let's look at the forms of pronominal suffixes according to the person, gender, and number. First, the singular forms. 니, 가, 그, 후, 하. They are the first person, the second person, the third person, and the masculine and feminine singular forms. 니, 가, 그, 후, 하. The plural forms are nu, kem, ken, am, an. They can also be written as nu, kem, ken, hem, an. Let's read them. 니, 가, 그, 후, 하, nu, kem, ken, am, an. In this way they are added to verbs, and they describe the object of verbs. Here we will conclude the last lecture on Hebrew. Thank you.